Okay, hello everybody. Welcome once again to the episode 2 of our Fireside Chats by Ignites. If you don't know me, my name is Neo, and today I will be having a very casual chat, pretending that we are sitting in a cafe in Paris over a nice cup of cappuccino, with two friends, good friends, chatting on today's topic, which is about technology. And for those of us who are joining for the first time, the Fireside Chats by Ignites is a four-episode online series exploring where sport meets data, technology, and innovation. We already had our first episode 1 month ago, exactly 1 month ago on May 19. And if you missed out on that episode, please feel free to visit our YouTube channel and you can replay our topic, which was on data. Now, today, our theme that we are going to chat over this cup of coffee and cappuccino that I really like is called Tech in the Trenches: Tools, Venues, and Integration for Smarter Delivery. When people hear technology at a major sport event, they often think of laptops, Wi Fi, systems, or maybe results. Some of them who are a little bit better, they understand that, of course, technology is needed to run the results. But as many of you know, technology at games is so much broader than that. It is about infrastructure, it's about requirements, it's about value readiness, workflows, integrations, people, and the decisions that are made long before the event begins. So, today we are going behind the scenes to talk about what technology really looks like when it has to work on the ground. And I'm so pleased to share my cup of coffee with two guests and two friends who bring deep experience from the field. First, we have a good friend of mine, Misaki Tsuruta. Oh my god, we have known each other for, I'm sorry to say, 17 years, maybe
Yes,
16 years now.
exactly.
That's how long we know each other because we both studied together in the same class in
Mm.
AISTS in Lausanne. Um, and that was ages ago. And right now, Misaki is actually the head of venue technology and IT infrastructure for the Dakar 2026 Youth Olympic Games.
Yes.
Misaki, of course, has worked across many different major international events, including Tokyo 2020, Paris 2024, and of course, right now for Dakar 2026. And on my other side is also a very good friend of mine, which we have met a bit less time, but I think we spend more time together. Ursula Veloso, who is also my managing partner at Ignites. And with more than 15 years of experience in sport event management, of course, including Olympic Games, sport operations, results management. We were also in Napoli doing the Universiad Games. She's basically the expert for me in competition scheduling. So we have both great experience experts here. So thank you so much for having this cup of coffee with me. And before we go into the discussion about tech, let's start with a little bit of a quick introduction because I know you both very well. And actually, both of you know each other as both of you actually worked in Paris together. But many of our guests here do not know you yet. So let's start with some introduction. Misaki. So you have had quite an international journey from AISTS with me in 2009. And then after that, of course, you went on to Tokyo, Paris. Of course, before that, many other games. Can you briefly introduce yourself a little bit about yourself and then your current role as head of venue technology and IT infrastructure?
Sure. Neo, thank you very much. And Ursula, nice to see you again. So my name is Misaki. Yes, I did AISTS Master in Technology Sports Management. I think it was 2009, so it's about almost 15, 16 years ago. Yes, before that, I was in a hotel industry. So I was working in different hotels in Europe. I was uh, I was working in reservations and sales. Um, After this, my master's degree in Switzerland, basically I started to work in a football club, a soccer club in Brazil. So I was assistant of the sports director. So we took care of contract negotiation of players, from young ones to confirmed ones, uh, organized the training every day, logistics, uh, performance, video analysis, these kind of things. Then I moved on to this Olympic Games organization side in 2018. That was 2 years before the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games. So from that point, I was more involved with technology planning. Basically, it's kind of relates to what I do now in Dakar, but uh, in the games, it's a huge scope. So each department, there is a department of medical, department of infrastructure, department of technology. I was one of these technology members, and then I did Tokyo 2020 games, and then Paris 2024 games, and now I'm here in Dakar. Basically, my role here in Dakar is that I'm in charge of a department called Venue Technology Services. It's one of the 5 services that we have here in Dakar Technology. Basically, we are kind of an integrator. So we have a telecom team, we have a venue IT team who's in charge of equipment. We have a cybersecurity team, we have an audiovisual team. Everybody has services to deliver, and then somebody has to coordinate them. And then because there is uh, to deploy a laptop that works or printer that prints, you have to have a network. To have a network, we have to install cables, we have to install racks and switches. But for the switches to work, we have to have air conditioning to control the temperature. We have to have power. We have to have a conduit through which we can pass cables. All this we plan. We do a lot of coordination with a construction team. We do a lot of coordination with the energy team that provides power. And of course we do internal coordination with telecom team, venue IT team, audio visual, cybersecurity, so that the games is quite short. Senior games is about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then you might have Paralympic games, but the planning starts way before, and so we do a lot of planning for the infrastructure, a lot of coordination, a lot of looking at the dependencies. That's what my department does for the Dakar 2026.
Okay, Misaki, remind me. I think before we met in 2009, your background was not technology, right?
No, my background is basically international business. So it's a very funny thing, but when we talk about technology, we think about coders, people, programmers, or we can think about telecom specialists. There are many roles, but this role in technology, we don't have to have a huge background or specialized knowledge about certain things, but you have to know a bit of everything. So in the beginning of Tokyo 2020 role, I had basically a long training with NTT, with the telecom company of Japan. I was in a training with new other NTT people, learning about the switches, what is WAN, wide area network, what is LAN, what is switch, what is access point, what's viable. All this, I got the base of it. And because you have to know this, just basic things to talk about the cable. There are 2 types of cables, like a fiber cable or copper cable. The protection that we request is different because there's other things. So I had to have the basics of this telecom venue IT. So it's about the port, in the MAC address, IP address, cybersecurity. What is the all this? We had a basic training, and of course I complemented with online training that I can get outside. But yeah, so my role, if you want to do my role or do this kind of job, it can be learned. That's a good thing. You don't have to be like a programmer or C++ programmer to do this, but a lot of lot of learning, a lot of understanding, having the whole picture, big picture, understanding how each element of technology works, and then when you have a question, you might have to, deep dive. But integration is the key. Knowing a little bit of everything and understand the whole picture of technology. That is important in my role.
Before we go to Ursula, I just want to understand a little bit and to ask you this question because many people ask me this question as well. Did you go into AISTS to get yourself into the sports industry? Did you take the course because you wanted to enter into the sports industry?
Yes, yes, but I was quite young, so maybe 28, 29 years old. I had worked in the hotel industry in Paris for a long time. I liked football because I played football until like 17, 16, 17. So I wanted to do something in sports. I didn't know how to. And then I went, of course, to see PSG. At that time, we had a Ronaldinho Gaúcho in PSG. So it was my hobby, but it was not my work. So then I decided to do this course in Switzerland, hoping that maybe I can change the direction of my career. And then, yeah, finally it changed, and now I really work in the technology, but sports related technology part.
Nice, nice. I still remember you and Borut were crazy over playing football, and you represented AISTS very well because we beat the FIFA Masters guys at their own game.
True, that's very important to talk about it here. Yes, we beat FIFA. Yes, we did.
Indeed. All
Yes.
right, over to you, Ursu. Ursu, your background is also very interesting because even though you are now a lot in technology, your background was not in technology, right? Maybe you
No.
can share with us a little bit about your journey as well and how you landed up here.
Okay, so my background before starting with events, I am a physical education teacher and I used to work with special population, elderly, cardio rehabilitation, all of those kind of things. And one day, a friend of mine who worked with me in research in the university, he said, "Well, I'm working for the Pan American Games in Rio, and we need someone who knows how to work with Excel, how to work with data, and also understands a bit of sports." So I started back in 2007 in Rio Pan American Games. And my job there was in sports. I worked with a training schedule and also at the village. So that's where I started. From there, I went to Rio 2016, very early stage, and I was called to work with results from the sports side, and then I changed to competition schedule. So Rio 2016, I did competition schedule, went to Buenos Aires to do competition schedule and sport program, landed in Sport Operations Center as well for both games. And from there, I started with OBS. I worked with OBS for Tokyo with competition schedule, for Beijing, and I was invited by IOC to join Paris 2024. As I joined in the organizing committee, but I was hired under IOC for results, and that's where I landed more into technology.
Okay. So I think it's important for those younger audiences that we have, those of us who were Misaki and Neo 16 years ago, who were, studying in masters. Technology is not just for those who are studying in the technology, right? Those who do not have who have a degree or background in technology or IT doesn't doesn't matter. You can actually end up in technology, because right now technology is around us everywhere. It's in our everyday life, and that's why kind of the fireside chats that Ignite selected also, it's about technology, you know. So let's go to the main question, and the main reason why we are having coffee together. Maybe Misaki, can you tell us a little bit, like, what is the one thing that people usually misunderstand about technology at major games?
Yes, yeah, I mean, it is a broad topic. So, if they just they're used to watching the Olympic Games on the TV, they might think of just maybe laptops, printers. They think about maybe connection like internet, um, but that's about it. But it is quite complicated. So as I said, we here we have like basically five groups of specialists. So telecom, revenue IT, audiovisual, frequency management, and cybersecurity. But when you take telecom, there is fixed telecom that we need. Is to do with the Wi-Fi that we have in our rooms, maybe IP phone that you use to call somebody, uh, and then over that you might have to you can do like a server, this kind of thing. And then we also have a mobile telecom that when you are out in the field, when you're in a venue, you're coordinating construction, you might use a telephone, or you might during the games you can actually transmit a few things like a competition over the mobile network as well, private or dedicated preserve. So that's to do with having a mobile antenna, which is connected to a telecom station, which is connected to fiber, all these things. So it's a telecom itself is big. But when you talk about video IT, it's printers. Okay, what kind of printer? How do we connect it? Do we install something that everybody, you and me, and maybe who's a guest, who can print? And then can we make sure that the data is not stored in the printer so that somebody else can print the email? It's confidential. That can touch into the cybersecurity. And then we have to have a system so that people cannot send the important confidential information to somebody without our notice, or we have to make sure that a stranger emails arrive here, or they can hack our system and then display anti-Olympic message. All this is related. So yeah, um, it is big. That's why we need specialists, and also we need kind of like a generalist like me who understands a bit of it. Like a medicine, you have a family doctor who understands basics of all kind of diseases, and then you have like a surgeon, you have like a ophthalmologist, you have orthopedist, that's a specialist. So everybody work together in the field of medicine or in technology is kind of same thing. Everybody has to work together to do something big. So that's quite special about technology in Olympic Games.
That's interesting. This is the first time I hear technology being compared to medicine, but it makes a lot of sense. Thanks, thanks for that. Um, and also, you are more into the operations side, right? So from an operations perspective, where do actually people underestimate the role of technology, especially in the games delivery side?
So I think there are 2 points where people underestimate it. First is how to connect all the systems. So we have different systems available, and that has to be used for the games. We have spot data entry, for example, from accreditation. These we have to integrate into results, so we know who is competing in which discipline, how things are working. So integrating systems is a very important part of technology, and something that is usually underestimated, or maybe you don't test how the systems are reading each other's message, especially for the smaller games. So how they are reading each other's message, or even how you present your data. So competition schedule is used for lots, for almost all functional areas use somehow competition schedule. But they need different information from competition schedule. So how are you going to pass this information to other functional areas that they can work with this kind of data is important as well. So I think integration is a big part of it. Second is what is coming to a very big importance at the moment, which is electronic education, for example. How much effort do you need to put? How many cameras? How are you going to integrate? How the reference will communicate? This is also part of technology, and it's part of technology and part of sport. And who is collecting this information? How is it being presented? How is it being shown on TV or shown to the judge, the referee that will adjudicate? Those are also some things that are sometimes underestimated because technology evolves from games to games. So
So I have one question to you, and I think the same question applies to Misaki. We talk a lot right now about multi-sport, right? But do you have the same challenges when we do single sport as well?
we for integration we have smaller challenges because we are not collecting information from different federations and different field of plays, so it's one result technology fitting all. But still you have to integrate different systems. So let's say transportation for these games is using one kind of a system, or accommodation is using one kind of system, and this has to be integrated somehow with the other systems to know where to pick up the athletes from, which accommodation where to take to. So it's a lot smaller, but it's still we have some integration issues.
And I think Misaki, if you compare the multi-sport event that you're doing now, which is Dakar, or let's say Paris as well, you had a huge team for technology itself. If let's say if it's a single sport, can that team be reduced by, I don't know, let's say 75%?
I think our case it really depends on how many venues we have, how many competitions we have. Uh, like take a FIFA for example, like you might have like a 15 venues, three football matches every day, versus 15 venues. You might have football, baseball, marathon, badminton. It's really different because sometimes what we call post-sport transition. So you might set up the field of play, what we call in, let's say, think it happened in Paris for boxing, and then it has to be changed to tennis, or it happened to quite often like uh, handball to futsal or this kind of thing. So and then the equipment position is different. The cameras maybe are different. So then that requires a different cabling. That requires a different infrastructure. So that's more complex. But maybe if you have, but it doesn't going from that to football venues, it doesn't decrease dramatically because we still have to implement base telecom infrastructure, which is having the switches, having the APs, putting in the fiber. All this doesn't change because now we have rugby and tennis and to football only. So yeah, I think I don't know the percentage, but yeah, there are some base things that we cannot really reuse because it's used in football, used in tennis, used in golf. So
That's very interesting because I think a lot of our viewers, or for those of us who are just watching from TV, the TV viewers, they don't realize that everything that they see on the TV relies on technology that brings this information to their TV screen itself, right? Like what you mentioned, Ursu, with the integration of the TV graphics. Misaki, you were mentioning the different positions of the different cameras around, and all those actually encapsulates into what technology is all about, the broad scope of what technology is at games. So I think that brings me very interestingly to the next part of the chat that we want to have, which is kind of the evolution. And we know technology is evolving so quickly. Right now, I heard a cybersecurity expert actually say from Microsoft that AI is not really evolving by day, it's actually evolving by hours already. Every hour there is a new improvement that they need to think about, right? And so also, if you look back to when we were in Buenos Aires, right? What were some of the technology limitations or simpler ways of working at that time, especially around competition scheduling and games times operation?
So a lot of our operation relied on spreadsheets. Um, for competition schedule, for example, most of the competition schedule was done. All of the competition schedule was done in a spreadsheet, and then transferred to a system that would share this with results. Right now, we are thinking of tools to develop competition schedule. Ignite, for example, has one tool called iSchedule that can develop competition schedule, not just having competition, but having also other activities around the field of play. So let's say in the same field of play as in Buenos Aires, you have breakdancing, and then you have basketball 3 by 3, but in the middle you have a concert that will happen. This concert has to be shown in the schedule somehow. It's not part of competition, so results probably will not wanting to know how long it will be, but it's still other areas need to understand how's what's going to happen. Sport presentation will need what's going to happen in the field of play. Broadcast will need what's going to happen. If security, event delivery. So we need this competition schedule as a whole. So I think in Buenos Aires we used a lot. We relied a lot in spreadsheets, in Excel, and transfer of data in this way. Right now, having a tool online, for example, that can show everything to all the functional areas in real time, what is happening, what are the changes, how is it going. This is very important at the moment. And I think it goes across for all technology in Buenos Aires a lot. At the time, we depended a lot in spreadsheet. Of course, there were some systems developed, but we are moving to a more online based document.
And it's a nice evolution because Buenos Aires was the previous summer Olympic Games, and the next Youth Olympic Games is going to be in Dakar. So, Misaki, now since you are there, what are the technology requirements today that perhaps did not exist or were much lighter in other games before this?
Yeah, much lighter. We can take example like visibly. So you take maybe a IP phone. So I think 10 years ago, 15 years ago, every desk had a phone, and then you used it to call somebody. Now we don't see this at all in the venues. Everybody has a mobile phone, and then even in the command center, you might have one or two IP phones just in case the mobile phone doesn't work. That's a huge, and then everybody's shifting towards laptops. So we hardly use the desktop, maybe for tasks that require really hard processing or this kind of thing. But everybody uses laptops, and then taking a laptop, maybe 10 years ago, 5 years ago, you had a jack that you can connect the Ethernet cable, the white cable, and you connected to internet. You had an internet through this cable. Now the laptop doesn't have an Ethernet port. It's fully on Wi-Fi. So it's this kind of equipment evolution you see, and also you take a look at the broadcasting, the size of the what we call IBC, International Broadcasting Center. This is where they basically we have cameras in each venue. The images are transferred to IBC. Then it's consolidated and it's given to the media rights holders. To do this operation, of course, a lot of equipment, a lot of fiber, a lot of communication is needed. but now the size of IBC in LA is, I heard it's like almost half of what we had in Tokyo, because we can do the optimization, we can do a lot of like editing, this kind of thing over cloud. So I heard that the virtual of event is real. And then we are doing this in Dakar as well. OBS has reduced the size of IBC significantly. So it's a good thing. Less footprint means that you don't have a lot of construction cost. Heating, the cooling is less. The power consumption is less. You don't have to have a lot of people traveling to Dakar, which uh, translate to less CO2 consumption. All this is a good thing, but it wasn't possible 10 years ago because of the telecom structure or the cloud structure or all this. So it's there are very good positive things that are making impact in today's time.
Yeah, I remember because when I was working in Singapore 2010, we were still receiving faxes. I think nowadays people don't even know what a fax is anymore, especially the younger generation.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and I know, Misaki, when we were chatting earlier in the week, you did mention that there were some innovations that were now implemented in Dakar, especially within your department of IT infrastructure. I think one of the things that you mentioned is the TIAP, especially. So maybe you can elaborate a little bit what is actually TIAP and how is it has improved from how we used to do it before, and how is it now going to be done in Dakar.
Yes, sure. So basically, TEEP or TEAP, how somebody puts it, basically technology equipment allocation process, TEAP. So this is like basically a process. Basically first we contact everybody who is involved in the organization of the games to understand what they need in terms of technology. So that can be connectivity. I need a Wi-Fi, or I need two network cables in my room. I need two printers, one black and white, one multifunction that I can scan, to a TV that shows competition happening in my venue, to a TV that shows competition happening at other venues. All these requirements, we do a hearing. So basically, we make Excel. It used to happen like this: make Excel, and then somebody asks the coordinator of each department what you need in each space. So this in Tokyo, we had about 4 or 5 people doing this work, because there are many spaces, many people involved, many venues, but many of it can be now automated, or something like we can have a platform which still kind of like a IGNITX Excel. You have a column or for venue code, space name, space code, type of type of technology product, can be internet, or can be Wi-Fi, or can be laptop, or can be printer, and how many and why. So all this back and forth hearing, it can be done on the platform now. And then so this saves time. Then some people, like, you can do this saves time for the technology and the people who are needing the services as well. So that's a good thing. And then when we deploy the services, it can be integrated into what we call a block plan, or in Paris and Dakar, we call it a VDB, it's a venue design book. So that in this specific space, which has a space code something, space name something, and then we can click this space, and then we can see the size of it, and then we can see how many laptops that we want to provide, and sometimes even the view photo of the space. So many of the services can be integrated. So the logistics, the people who bring chairs and the tables, they can be the same platform. So the user can request a printer. At the same time, they can request a table and a chair and a storage cabin. This on the same platform. So this is a this is a trend that we have now to save people's time and to make it simpler. That's I think we're heading.
Yes, what you have just explained actually is so closely related to the logistics as well, and also how, I mean, in terms of the venue, what is actually needed, because the TIA, which is a technology
Equipment
equipment
allocation plan.
allocation process, right? Yes, technology equipment allocation process is so important for one venue to understand exactly what do they need in order to run technology smoothly during the games time. Also, do you think, I mean, because you have more experience, I think, especially now with Ignites, where we do more middle to smaller events, is this a challenge also in smaller events?
It is, and it's a challenge that sometimes it's not seen well in advance. So we are not sure how many, or we are not informed how many printers we will need, or what kind of connection, if we need to have a stable internet connection to somewhere, how it's going to be connected to, how you're going to generate TV graphics, and how this is going to be connected all together. There's space for those kind of equipment as well. So it is a challenge, and for sure we can use something online that and also train people to understand what they need and to request in advance, because usually when we work with the sports, people know how to do, how to referee, what they need, how many, how, what are the space, but they don't think about the infrastructure they need behind the scenes. So it comes and they say, "Oh, I needed a computer, a laptop just for this referee to include this system," and it was not asked before. Also, the number of screens with the education, the number of screens you need. Referees will need a bigger screen, a TV maybe, to double check what's going on to in different with the different feeds. So it is important.
So let's maintain on where you are on the smaller games, like um what are the different practical ways, because like right now I believe, especially with Dakar or any other bigger games, there are, multiple specialized providers and systems to ensure that all parts of the games, especially in technology, is delivered. But I think from a middle to small events, like, is it is it necessary to have so many providers, or one provider is enough to be able to deliver everything, or do you think integration of several to deliver games?
I think it depends on the maturity and of the games and where and the national federations and regional federations, and also where the games are being delivered. So it will all depend on how much people understand, how much who is running the competition understand they need, and are able to collect this information before, or it maybe if they have someone who is already working with them, it's easier to work with the provider they already have and try to integrate. But this provider has also to be prepared to share messages, to share what they need with the results, the central team of results. So I think it has to be analyzed and decided based on case by case study. It might be that you have most of the venues with one provider and some of the venues with a different provider. It will depend, and we have also to consider uh, how ready the readiness these venues are, and these the people that are delivering they are for a multi-sport event. Let's say it's different to run a multi-sport event than a single event. It's completely different.
And Misaki, are you kind of facing this challenge um, in Dakar, especially when you have so many sports and so many venues, and probably you have multiple different providers, or you only have one provider that is providing services?
Yeah, so I think in my opinion, so like in a software side, maybe it's easier to integrate because it already comes one and zero, and then the application it's but sometimes it's difficult to combine services, telecom services and audiovisual services. Because one company has to have the key infrastructure, which is maybe the fiber running in the city. You have to have a base station. All this, it is not something that the AV provider. Let's look at the big screen that you have at the concert. Let's look at the speakers that you have around the field of play. This is not a company which needs the services provided by the telecom provider, because you might have to send the signal to maybe a TV or international broadcasting center. But so hardware side, there is always a separation between telecom company and audiovisual company. But even in the audiovisual, like intercom, which is you need fixed fixed telecom services, but maybe it can be substituted by mobile telecom or device-to-device radio. So there are some things that one company can do these things, provide radios and the walkie-talkie and intercom as well. That's possible, but I think fundamentally in the telecom and then audiovisual, there is going to be a big difference. So yeah, here in Dakar, basically in all games, more suppliers that you have, it's going to be more difficult to coordinate. So we will always try to look for a company who can provide a large scope of things. And then that's less coordination work, that's less risk. And that's how we go. But I don't think there is going to be one big provider. We can do everything that we need in the Olympic Games, from telecom to audiovisual to venue equipment. I think it's going to be quite difficult.
Okay, wow, we are already about 40-minute mark. I didn't realize that we have chatted so long, but we have some questions from the floor, and some of our friends, actually, Misaki, who have joined us from our class in 2009. So we have a question from Rajan, and I'm gonna throw it at you, and Ursula, please feel free to add on after that. So Rajan asks, how much time is invested in contingency planning if modern technology fails real time? Technology is evolving, and can everyone be on the same page? So what do you think?
So maybe, yeah, I can share some insights, because in Olympic Games, even the Youth Olympic Games, Senior Olympic Games, it is fancy, because we show a lot of like a big LED screens. We show latest technology. However, the technology that actually we use, the base fixed telecom, or let's say LED screens, it's not a technology that was developed 3 months ago. It is a technology that we try and test and try. We look at, okay, they tried this new technology at European Championship, didn't go well. Are we ready to use this in the Olympic Games or not? So everything we do in Olympic Games, even in Youth Olympic Games, it is a sure technology that is been working, and it's been tried in maybe a small event, and then contingency. Yes, it is something that we planned from the beginning. Basically, that's why we have what we call redundancy. So even results area, Ursula can talk about it more. In the OVR, the time and scoring room, we have two sets of all equipment. So we assume that if there is a power cut, or if there is a network problem with one line of equipment, the line B, the backup, will always try to submit information. We do this over network. We have a redundancy over network. We have redundancy over power. So yeah, contingency is the key because we never assume that everything goes well. There are many things that can happen: rain, heat, cyber attack, patch delay. All this can happen. So we have to have a plan so that the our business is users or the people watching on the TV or coming to the stadium, they can enjoy the sport. So the athletes don't have to repeat the good run that they did. Oh, sorry, we didn't take it. So can you run again? We cannot do that. So we do all this planning so that this kind of thing doesn't happen. Never.
And also, you want to add on to that?
Yes, I think from the results side, there is a part we have to respect the rules of the game. So if something is cannot be run using spreadsheets or maybe marking things on paper, probably we will have to stop. But we do have some contingency plans, and we are planning always on how to what to do if technologies failed or if we don't have network, how to continue the competition. And if you think about competition schedule, for example, competition schedule has a lot of contingency plans. We have spare days, we have different contingency measures that that we can do if a competition is delayed by half an hour, what will happen with the session and so on. So competition schedule, we do have a lot of contingency planning, and also for results, we do have sometimes just a paper where you can mark something or a spreadsheet where you can mark something. It will not be integrated online. You will not see the results as fast as you would in before, but you can continue with a schedule with a competition if needed, if we have a total fail of network or something else. Of course, light is something we cannot work without energy.
Of course, I mean, technology at the end of the day doesn't, I mean, fails at certain point, and our backup is always manual. Like when I was in Buenos Aires, I remember the first day of arrivals of teams to the youth Olympic village, and the accreditation system failed. We just couldn't log into the system. So in order to validate each YOAC or each accreditation card, there was no way for us to validate it because the system was not working. So what we did was we had a backup plan. We had to just write down all the numbers on paper, and then later when the system came up again, then we punched all these numbers into the system to ensure that we know that this accreditation card has been validated. So I think a big lesson from technology, from my side at least, is always, as you mentioned, both of you, is a backup plan. There must be a backup plan. If there's no plan B, plan C, plan C, plan D. Because if we fail in capturing the results, then it's going to be, I mean, and if it's a world record, then it's going to be a big issue if we are not able to capture it. Let's say plan A, plan B, and I'm sure from a results perspective, you do have all this contingency plan. So let's go to the second question, and I think that's the last question that we have for today. My goodness, I think we should have gone this for like 2 hours, maybe a second cup of coffee. We have a question from Danny, our managing partner, and she is interested to know. She said, an organizing committee normally starts planning around 5 to 7 years ahead. I think this is more towards the Olympic Games, mainly. So is technology planning adjusted as new technology and innovations come into play? How to do so without being too disruptive? I think this is a very valid question because, as we earlier also mentioned, technology is changing and evolving so fast. So let's say if you start in 2020, and in just 2 years the technology had evolved. So how does organizing committee actually change their planning to adapt? Maybe Ursula, let's start with you, and then we go to Misaki.
We'll try to accommodate as much as possible the changes that are coming, and of course there will be new systems, there will be new ways of doing results, but especially for big games where you have to buy main equipment and you have to decide things pretty early because the venues are big and you are doing multiple venues, there is a cutoff line. So let's say 1 year before is the maximum you can change something. I think for smaller, medium games, we can be more accommodative because we start to buy things in a later stage. But I think for bigger games, we have a cutoff point where we say this is the technology we're going with. Those are the requirements that we gather so far, and this is how we're going with other games. I don't know what you think, Misaki.
Yeah, thank you for the. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, yeah, the things are changing quite fast. But yeah, that's correct that each committee has about 5 to 7 years of planning. Uh, yes, technology normally director of technology get hired about 4 to 5 years before, and then it's actually a longer span because normally two or three organizing committees uh, run or do the coordination with IOC at the same time. So in case of Paris, you are in contact with Los Angeles and Brisbane. So and then you don't you know what you're going to have as a base in 2032. It's going to have the telecom, the base bandwidth that we can rely on. Of course, it can change, but you can still plan. It's not going to be dramatically different. We will still use fiber. We will still use switches. We will still use access points. Maybe the bandwidth will be different, a little bit more cheaper, faster, but the core things that we use will not be different. So yeah, as I said, like VAR, video education, football, it was a big topic in Tokyo. Are we going to use it or not? So we waited until a certain time until you need a telecom infrastructure for that. Then you have to make a decide. If you wait 2 more weeks, it's not going to be possible. So then, yeah, there is a cutoff point, and then it's a difficult decision to make. It's nice to have it, have the latest one, but maybe it's not the decision that you always take. So yeah, we will try to accommodate it as much as possible. We will try to keep up with the latest development, but the core thing will not change that fast. That's what I think.
Okay. Thank you so much, both. This has been a very nice pairing because Ursula talks more about the system side, the integration side, in terms of the soft part of technology, which is data and all. While Misaki, I think you focus a lot on the hardware, and both these two parts they have to work together, or else technology doesn't work. So thank you so much to both Ursula and Misaki for coming on today, on Fireside Chats, with us in Ignites. For those of you who are out there, we have two more episodes coming up. And stay tuned to our social media channels to know the next episode. And for those of you who are interested to learn more, about technology, about major multi-sport event, about Dakar 2026 that will host the first ever youth Olympic Games, basically an Olympic event in the continent of Africa, please do not hesitate to add Misaki on his LinkedIn profile. And if you have any questions about Ignites and what we do, please drop a message to me and Ursula. And so, my final word is, Misaki, good luck in Dakar. I hope everything goes well. Youth Olympic Games has always been very close to my heart. It's always like an incubator, like you said. They test everything at the Youth Olympic Games and then they bring it to the Olympic Games. So good luck. to everyone there, to you and your team as well in Dakar. And I think Ursu and I share the same passion for the Youth Olympic Games, to say,
For
you know,
sure.
we hope that the Youth Olympic Games will be a huge success, so that it can, you know, continue in future editions as well. So thank you everyone.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much for
Thank
today,
you.
and we'll see everybody in the next five sections. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Goodbye.